Moon River, heartbreaker, indeed. Greetings, geeks and geekeros. It is me. I am back for another Doom Patrol. Sorry for singing so soon again, but I just love that song and it's so fitting for this episode. It really hits you in the feels. For multiple reasons. So, without further going into it, I will just say that I freaking love this show, and this was a very emotional episode that I really liked. And if you guys aren't watching this episode, I really suggest it. The show is so weird and crazy that I bet there's something for everyone. But anyway, spoiler alert, if you guys haven't seen it, go watch it. I highly recommend it. Then come back and tell me what you think. Comments down below. So, this episode was split into 3 parts. 3 different stories. One was with Vic and Jane. One was with I was almost going to call her Rita. Gertie. And Cliff. And then the last one was with Larry and John. But anyway, let's talk about the Vic and Jane one first. So, Vic is unplugged Grid and is talking to Grid. And he finds out that after the last reboot, more of his body was taken over by computers, but like 60% of his body, 65% of his body is now cybernetic. And he's like, I don't feel it. And then Grid says what we're doing on the inside is amazing. And it's like, what the fuck? And so Vic opens himself up and legit, he's got like circuit boards and stuff inside of his skin amongst his blood and veins. Very body horror-esque. Also, nice twist on Grid there, because for those of you who don't know, I got it wrong the first time I was talking about Grid. Grid is not usually synonymous with being Cyborg's other half. He's synonymous with being evil Cyborg from another universe. So the fact that they twisted that and how they're using Grid in this episode, in this like show, is really good. But anyway, so while he's doing that, Jane is investigating Flex Metallo because she wants to find Chief to ask him about the asylum. So they find an old woman who is his wife, and so they go to investigate it, and when they do, you see this couple fighting, this guy getting abusive, so of course that brings out Hammerhead. And while she's distracted, an old woman takes Cyborg, while the abuser guy tries to take Jane, but he doesn't know Hammerhead. Because Jane was initially the one who went out and was like, hey, asshole. And then Hammerhead took over and was like, bitch. Which also, we find out that this is the Bureau of Normalcy, and they've kidnapped Vic. And I like their whole thing of, look at my elbow. Because not only is it weird and kind of fitting for the normalcy, but it also gives me vibe of human Daleks from Doctor Who. Where it's like they open up their hand and the thing comes out. But anyway, that was their story. The story with Vic and Gertie. Because she says that she don't want to be called Rita, so I'm going to call her by the name that she wants to be called, which is Gertrude or Gertie for short, because that's her real name. So she goes through like that, and also trying to help Cliff, because Cliff finds out that Bud died. Bud died wrestling an alligator. So that leaves Clara without a father and without any parent at all. So they go, and he thinks that he's going to say something to her, but then when he gets there and sees her give a speech about Bud, he realizes, oh, what the hell am I doing? I'm a robot. She doesn't need me. And he starts going through a mental crisis, but then he remembers that part of her speech, her eulogy for her father, Bud, is that she gave him a special watch that meant a lot to her. That was actually Cliff's watch that he won in a race and meant something to him, but then it meant something even more to Clara because she gave it as like a thing to say that she officially signed the papers for Bud to adopt her. And so they go, and he's like, okay, so the watch is still in the alligator. I'm going to go get the watch. And so he goes, and he wants to take down the giant alligator. Rita tags along, Gertie tags along, because that's who she is. And just as she's trying to console Cliff, and he thinks that he's lost, he finds the gator finds him, and he clearly defeats it because he's a robot. And he goes to give her the watch, and he kind of wusses out at the last minute and just leaves the watch there for her. Which was just like, ah. But also you saw the look in Clara's eyes. I think she knows that that's Cliff. Because, father-daughter thing. But, anyway. Last story was with Larry and John. Now, Larry is starting to have these weird interactions with John when the negative entity takes over. Like, John's saying things that the entity normally wouldn't, and they're getting, like, really serious about faults and stuff. And at the last one, which is at a gay bar, John says, I don't want to spend my last few days like this. And so he's like, what the hell does that mean? And thanks to the entity, he figures out that Erie, Indiana. So he goes there and finds John, who's still alive, but on his deathbed. And they have a nice, very sweet moment that really hits you in the feels. And I really loved seeing them together. It was so sweet and heartwarming. And then, of course, because he's an older guy, after he feels like he's done everything and he's reconnected with Larry and gotten closure on that, I guess he felt like it was okay to let go, and John dies right there, right on his porch, sitting next to Larry. This week has been a very emotional week. I know John was only a character, but it still hurt in the feels. And this show is just really good. And I can't wait for next week where it's going to be the team teaming up with Silas to get Vic back. And maybe apparently Jane. Because it looks like Jane is kidnapped. But we'll just have to see then. Thank you guys for watching. Next time you'll see me will be for Supergirl. Yeah. So weird. We've only got like, I think 3 episodes of Supergirl left and 4 of Doom Patrol. Well, no, we've got 4 episodes of Supergirl, 4 episodes of Doom Patrol, and 4 episodes of Game of Thrones. So you'll see me first for Game of Thrones. That's right. You'll see me first for Game of Thrones. The Battle of Winterfell. Oh. If I thought this week was emotional enough. But that's future me's problem. I will end it here saying thank you guys for watching again. Till next time and beyond. Why does this week when I attack me to feel so hard?